All right, good morning, everyone. I had to make sure I had my notepad here because I have notes and a roadmap that I'm going to follow this morning, or I'm going to try to follow it. Thank you once again to whoever gave me that like before the stream started. That lets me know that somebody appreciates this. I'm from the Ados tribe, the freedmen in the United States, and we are underrepresented in the STEMs. So I know this doesn't appeal to everyone who looks like me, but I appreciate those of you who do appreciate it. All right, let me make sure I'm broadcasting on YouTube. I see a couple of people watching me right now, which means you can see me, which means that it is, but I like to see myself here as well. So this morning, we're going to talk about rare earth minerals, and somehow I keep being drawn. Hold on. That was me on YouTube. All right, on the YouTube side. But somehow I keep being drawn to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, and I need to be careful and kind of tiptoe around some of these topics like Scooby and Shaggy. Scooby and Shaggy from Scooby Doo. You know when the show would open up, they show Scooby and Shaggy kind of tiptoeing around, trying to make sure the Phantom doesn't see them or get them. And for some of these topics, I need to be careful because I work in the public sector, and I need to be careful about what goes up into cyberspace. Okay, because I could be not working for the public sector for any number of reasons, and I don't want to give a reason to get myself ejected. But science is all around us. There are so many science stories concerning what's happening in the United States, particularly with our current administration. So I just keep getting drawn in. I mean, and it's very, very compelling what's going on. Okay, so this morning we're going to talk about rare earth minerals. We're going to talk about energy, because all of this is an energy story. And yeah, so Stephen Bishop, thank you for being here. Aquateki, thank you for being here. And Tony, thank you for being here as well. Oh, let me make this announcement over on my main antenna in case anyone else wants to come over and partake in some Saturday morning science education and current events. Give me a moment here. I do this on my phone now, so I don't disturb my my system here. Let me see. Why did I not get the notification over there? Let me see. Oh, yep, there it is. Okay. I'll give it a like over there. The video can never get too many likes, only too few. You know, when you're doing live streams, this feels like, because the camera's running and the clock's running, it feels like it's taking a long time. But when you watch the playback, it all just it all just happens seamlessly. Okay. All right, that's been shared over there. All right, so I'm going to play the intro, and then we're going to talk about energy and rare earth minerals, and the equalizer is here. So this all intersects with, this is an instance where science intersects with geopolitics, but also economies. So since the equalizer's here, I may just throw the link down there once I get done saying what I have to say and showing what I want to show. But this is the intersection of science with so many other areas. I don't know if the general public understands everything in its entirety, but that's why I am here as a YouTube content creator. So I will see you all on the other side. We're going through to the other side. We're going through to the other side.
So Anwar, I see you have the periodic tables on your chest.
Mm-hmm.
So what's that all about? Why are you walking around with a chemistry chart on your chest?
Well, Cheryl, so this channel is a STEM channel. So when I was conceiving of it and figuring out how to grow it, I figured I should have some T-shirts to go with it. So the periodic table is critical to most of the scientific fields. Welcome to Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. Science and technology are all around us, all of the time, and there are always science and technology stories to tell. Okay, so I thought I wrote down all of my discussion points, but I'm going to end up winging it here. So let's just do the best we can. Okay, before we jump into the main event, shout out to Dr. Thunder. A very, very quick advertisement. Some of you may be tired of seeing this, but as a newly published author, part of what I do, part of what I have to do is market. So I am a newly published author. And this is my book, The Engineers of Western New York Basketball Story, Part 1, Innocent Basketball Dreams. Really, really quickly, it's available on Amazon in the ebook, hardcover, and paperback editions. But I am selling signed copies through my own apparatus. And so if you want a signed copy at a discounted price, I'm going to be selling the hard copies for $25. That's $10 off. And then the paperback for $22, that's $5 off. Using any of these methods here, I'm following the ticker. I'm following the ticker. But make sure you send me your mailing addresses so I'll know where to send the copy of the book. Okay. And I want to, since we're going to be talking about chemistry today, I've got my periodic table here and on my chest. Cheryl asked, why are you wearing a periodic table on your chest? I want to acknowledge one of my first chemistry teacher, Mr. Paul Kosek up in Buffalo, who passed away. He actually appears in here just briefly my sophomore year on my high school basketball team. But I want to acknowledge Mr. Kosek. He taught me my first general chemistry class. I was a distracted and unfocused 14 or 15-year-old. I didn't quite get it initially, and I had a very mediocre grade in that class. But when I got to the undergraduate level, I figured out general chemistry and did well in general chemistry and organic. And I think that's the extent that I went to, because I didn't do P-Chem or analytical chemistry. And one of my undergraduate professors said, you should do a double major, but you have to take P-Chem and analytical. And I just wasn't interested in doing that. But there was lots of chemistry during my doctoral studies. So chemistry's been present throughout my professional career ever since. But Mr. Kosek, rest in power, was my very first chemistry teacher. Two other announcements before we jump into rare earth metals and rare earth minerals. I just, for the last day of Black History Month, which was yesterday, we have the shortest month of the year. I updated my essay on Lieutenant Colonel Michael P. Anderson. I write books, but I've written my fair share of online essays and blogs and blog posts. So I updated this essay here on Lieutenant Colonel Michael P. Anderson. Okay, Lieutenant Colonel Michael P. Anderson was a member of the Space Shuttle Columbia STS-107 mission. Okay, that was in the early 2000s. That mission unfortunately ended in tragedy as the space shuttle disintegrated upon its re-entry back into the Earth's atmosphere. That was during the second Bush administration. But I updated this. If you guys want to read about Lieutenant Colonel Michael P. Anderson, I'm going to drop the link here. It's not in the description box yet. But my point is, Black History Month causes me to refocus on the Black astronauts. And I think that, you know, we talk about our civil rights leaders and our entertainers and our politicians and athletes and entertainers, and we focus on those people. But I think we need to give more coverage to our Black astronauts, because many of them are scientists, many of them are physicists, many of them are military. They got their start in the military. Okay. And I think that we need to create more scientists and innovators and technologists. We need to give more coverage to these people. Okay, so that the link is right there if anyone wants to read that. And since I just mentioned my graduate studies, let's see if anybody knows who this individual is, because I got to the University of Michigan through this program as an undergraduate. Does anybody know who this gentleman is with the sideburns and the fro? Does anybody know who this is? Any takers in the chat? And my Cash App and PayPal are on the ticker, but if anyone is not interested in buying the book and just wants to make a donation, my Cash App and PayPal are here. Of course, Aquatechie Passport OG got it too. Okay. See, all the smart guys are here. Okay. And I appreciate you being here. So this is Ronald E. McNair. The McNair program, I don't know if that's still going, or even if it's going to have funding going forward. But in the 90s, at many institutions of higher learning, the McNair program was a trio program, and those programs were designed to expose underrepresented minorities to graduate research and doctoral studies. That's what I ended up getting into at the University of Michigan. But Ronald E. McNair was yet another astronaut. He was an astronaut before Lieutenant Colonel Michael P. Anderson. And unfortunately, his life ended in a tragedy as well. So he was a member of the crew of the Challenger. Okay, I'm sure Passport OG, I mean, we're similar. We're the same age. I think Sal, you're a little younger. I don't know how old some of you guys are. AB Media probably remembers this too. But he was a member of the crew of the Challenger. And that was 1980, the mid-1980s, during the Reagan administration. And my best friend reminded me that we were watching that at school. We were watching that space shuttle, the Challenger, lift off at school. And as such, we watched the Challenger. We watched the booster rocket explode, and then we watched the rest of the shuttle apparatus explode. And my best friend said we got sent home early that day. Aquatechie says, okay, so you guys were there. Yep. Aquatechie says 1986. Passport OG says, yep, on a school day. Yep. And Tony says I was 5. I would have been 10 years old. Aquatechie said that was January 26, 1986. Yeah, their documentaries on both the Columbia and the Challenger. I mean, they're both very sobering to watch because we know what's going to happen. But all of it was science. All of it was the reason those accidents happened. It was all science. It was all understanding materials, chemistry. It was all understanding how to keep the rockets, keep these shuttles, these vehicles well maintained throughout the missions. And I think one of the things they realized is that they weren't maintaining these vehicles in the best way. And in some instances, I think I said last week that science is about trial and error. Unfortunately, it took the lives of some of the crew for them to understand, okay, well, we have to, during winter conditions, we have to make sure the O-rings around the booster rockets are not cracked. And we have to make sure, in the case of the Columbia, we have to make sure the heat shield is intact before the ship takes off. So just a little quick, I may do throughout the year. We're only into March right now, but throughout the year, I might keep this messaging going. And that means you guys, I may need you guys to help, especially for young Black boys in this sector where this channel is partially in the Black manosphere. It's kind of adjacent. It's adjacent. But for young Black boys, I mean, you need to, and to some extent the girls too, you need to see people like this to conceive of being more than athletes and entertainers and politicians and clergy people. You need to see that. Percy Julian. I'll get into him in another stream. But tonight, this morning, we're going to talk about rare earth minerals. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, all my writing, a little bit of Black history, let's talk about energy and rare earth minerals and why that matters. Okay. Another fun topic before we jump in. One of my favorite content creators is I don't know if you guys are aware of him, Tyrone Magnus, but I think it's a good idea for me to introduce some fun things into these streams as well that you guys might not know. And I saw this video from Tyrone this week. Tyrone does he does a lot of he does some politics, but he also does entertainment news and other random stuff. So he did a science video, a short one. We'll just watch a little bit of it. And this is still in the arena of astronomy. Okay. And this is entitled City Killer Asteroid About to Hit the Earth. Okay. So let's take a quick look at this, and then we'll talk about energy and rare earth minerals. Fair use, fair use. This link is below in the description box. Fair use.
I guess on the bright side, it's not planet killing. I hope this is just sensationalism. Let's take a look at this, peoples.
We turn now to the asteroid being called a city killer. There's a chance it could hit Earth. It's happened before. An asteroid hitting Earth. This one in Russia in 2013, injuring more than 1,000 people. Now scientists say an asteroid discovered in December has a chance of striking our planet. It was named 2024 YR4, some calling it a potential city killer. It could hit in late 2032.
We're only looking at about a 3% chance that it hits the Earth. If it hit a city, it would have completely obliterated
3% chance.
It's up to 300 feet wide, the size of a large building.
If it was to hit, it would have an energy of between about 5 megatons of TNT and about 50 megatons of TNT, which is a very big range. This thing is probably in the range of I call it 1,000 times, 500 to 1,000 times larger than the bomb dropped over Hiroshima.
Astronomers have only
Wait.
time.
And about 50 megatons of TNT, which is a very big range. This thing is probably in the range of I call it 1,000 times, 500 to 1,000 times larger than the bomb dropped over Hiroshima.
So I think in this country, we've been fortunate that no impactors have hit the United States, but that doesn't mean that one can't come to the United States. Let's see. For my time volunteering at the Arlington Planetarium, I think the one that exploded over Russia was called Chelyabinsk, something like that. Chelyabinsk. Okay. Anyway, let's keep going.
Astronomers have only a limited time to observe the asteroid before it fades from view.
Next month and in May, the James Webb Space Telescope will take its shot at looking at this object. We'll get a much better idea of its size. Those observations will really pin down its orbit.
In 2028 is when it comes back closer to the Earth. That will be our chance to more than likely say for sure whether or not it's going to hit the Earth.
NASA recently had success using a space.
So hopefully it lands. If it did hit, it would land somewhere in the ocean where the ripples wouldn't be enough to cause any tsunamis anywhere. Or it could hit, say, somewhere that's uninhabited for the most part, somewhere like a remote part of the North Pole or something like that.
But even with impactors can cause lots of damage, even if they don't slam into the ocean, if they don't slam into buildings, if they disintegrate and the fragments go everywhere in the air, they could still cause these massive reverberations that can destroy buildings and windows and all kinds of things. So they can still cause lots of damage even if they don't slam into the ocean. I'll play a few more minutes, then we'll move on.
Spacecraft to knock an asteroid off course during a test. Such a mission would need to be done years in advance of a potential impact. For now, scientists don't seem too worried.
There's a pretty good chance that it's going to hit
spacecraft to knock it
someplace
off,
uninhabited, in which case we just get to see a great light show.
The potential impact would likely be somewhere in South America or the Middle East.
Okay. Thank you, Tyrone. Aquatechie is familiar with Tyrone, so yeah. So, as we were watching that, I was thinking one of the questions, since in this modern time, we're thinking about how to save the government money and what's the government spending money on. And if you have people starving here in the country and you have kids who don't have the educational resources that they need, why are we putting lots of money into space exploration and NASA and the Space Force? Well, there's an answer right there, because there are threats in outer space. So you need to know enough about them to know where they're going, if they're going to come here, and also if we're going to need to invest resources in knocking them off course. Otherwise, life here could cease. Okay. All right. So that's a fun little science factoid from another sector of YouTube, and they quoted 2028 to 2032. So that's when that thing is going to come back around. Hopefully it won't be on a collision course for our planet. Okay. Let's see. Yep. An extinction level event, just like on Avengers Age of Ultron. Okay. What else is on my... Okay. So this one, so we're going to start with some energy here. Okay. And a big story last week was Mrs. This is gonna tickle your fancy, AV Media, but a big story last week was Mrs. Joy Ann Reid being released by MSNBC. Okay, and a lot of people, that caused a lot of news. Some people were like happy over it, others were triggered, and others felt like it was a bit of a funeral. Joy Ann Reid getting fired from MSNBC, or released, or let go, or not renewed, whatever you want to call it. I said a few modest words over it over on TikTok, and yeah, people got triggered over there. But I think one thing that bothered me in general and bothers me about the news is when things are misrepresented. Okay, and I believe, in addition to saying that the reparations, the people pushing reparations online were Russian bots. Okay, that's something that Mrs. Reed said, but I think also her and her cronies really made an effort to misrepresent why some people voted for this current administration. And I'm not endorsing the current administration right now, but what I'm saying is energy impacts our way of life, and it impacts our quality of life. It impacts our transportation, our food production, the powering of our dwellings. Okay. And this week, right here, this is my condo, this is my home. We have our annual meeting. And at the annual meeting, you go over your finances, you go over projects that need to be done at the facility, you go over the condo fee. Okay. And long story short, the board basically said that they basically showed some eloquent data showing that for our condo complex, the cost of natural gas went like this right around 2021. Okay, so our condo fees were keeping up. Our condo fees were keeping up. And then the prices of natural gas and the water bills went like this. Okay. Does anybody know what happened right around 2021? All you smart guys out there, you smart ninjas. Shout out to Dr. Thunder. But does anybody know what happened right around 2021? Anybody? You guys still there? Okay, we'll just cut to it. President Biden shut down the building of the Keystone Pipeline. Okay, and then the United States got involved in all the Russia-Ukraine business, and then the Passport OG. We were already in COVID, kind of on the tail end, but when President Biden came in, he cut off the Keystone Pipeline, and then we got entrenched in all of the Russia-Ukraine business, slapped sanctions on Russia, and that the sum total of all that negatively impacted our energy prices. Okay, the cost of our energy. Okay, so give me 1 second here. I have a video from Dad Saves America with Robert Kiyosaki and Dad Saves America talking about the change in energy policy and what it did to fuel prices immediately afterwards. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Here we go. I just want to make sure that I had it queued up. This is Robert Kiyosaki and Dad Saves America talking about the Keystone Pipeline. So it matters if people know what's really going on, or if they're surrounded with clouds and they're looking at all kinds of other things.
Basic macroeconomics than finance. I'm like behind in finance, frankly. I mean, not at the basic level we're talking about, but where do we go from here? What's your sense of how the next several years is going to play out?
Okay, so you are on the price of housing went up, but inflation went up.
Yeah.
So it's a double-edged sword if you're making less than 100,000 a year, how do you afford a house?
Can't.
Because you go to the supermarket and you cash is sucked out of there.
Fair use, fair use. So energy contributes to inflation. Fair use.
On the expense column. But that's why there's no financial education in our schools. They don't have to teach you that stuff. They got some guy with a PhD in a paper and go. So that's the problem. And another thing I was taught at the academy, because of ring knockers, you watch what a person does, not what they say. So that's why I observe people. So this guy Biden is not Republican or Democrat. But
fair use, fair use. So here it goes. His first act, Robert alleges his first act when getting sworn in was shutting down the Keystone Pipeline. Fair use.
his first act was, you know what it was? His very first act.
The student loans was not, or no?
No, that was Obama.
Oh.
Another criminal. But anyway. No, it's.
You're not wrong.
Well,
Is assassinating American citizens around the world. He's technically a criminal.
yeah. Now, when he cut, his first act was to cut the Keystone XL pipeline. And I went to Kings Point, okay? I'm an oil man. My first job was with Standard Oil. I understand oil. When he cut the pipeline, I own oil wells. And the moment he cut the pipeline that day, oil went under Trump. I was selling oil for $30 a barrel. Next day was 130. So that's what.
So he lined your pockets with that.
I almost voted for Biden after that one. Trump cut the prices down. And so at 130, I'm making money hand over fist, but I knew exactly what he was doing because that's what Marxist guys did. By raising the cost of living or inflation, you now have two classes. So what Biden did was he created another.
We're going to play that last bit one more time about the Keystone Pipeline.
Class called the up. I understand oil. When he
Technically a criminal.
Yeah. Now, when he cut, his first act was to cut the Keystone XL pipeline. And I went to Kings Point, okay? I'm an oil man. My first job was with Standard Oil. I understand oil. When he cut the pipeline, I own oil wells. And the moment he cut the pipeline that day, oil went under Trump. I was selling oil for $30 a barrel. Next day was 130. So that's what.
So he lined your pockets with that.
I almost voted for Biden after that one. Trump cut the prices down. And so at 130, I'm making money hand over fist, but I knew exactly what he was doing because that's what Marxist guys did. By raising the cost of living or inflation, you now have two classes. So what Biden did was he created another class called the upper middle class became poor. He did it intentionally.
Okay, I'm going to stop that there. But again, energy impacts everything. And so I, I'm so tempted to clip this piece off and share it over in Facebook, but the people over there are so triggered and they're so sensitive that when they hear the word, the T word, folks are going to crash out. But going back to my situation here on the ground level, our managers, our board of directors showed that at 2021, our condo fee was here. I don't know how I did that before, but our condo fee was here. The utilities were here. Our condo fee was running above the utilities. And then in 2021, the utilities went up like that. So right now they have to increase the condo fee. So my point is science, chemistry, energy, it impacts everything. It impacts our way of life. And I think, I don't know, people need to be more aware of what's going on. I think a lot of people aren't aware. I mean, we're taught to make decisions based upon tribalism and party loyalties and diversity and reproductive rights and all these different things. But at the end of the day, are you going to be able to live? Okay. So your fuel that impacts everything, but also rare earth minerals impact everything. Okay, and if I'm correct, there's a rare earth mineral that goes into the usage of these, and we all use these. We're all dependent on these now. Okay, so rare earth minerals. Let's translate. Let's transition, not translate. Let's transition into rare earth minerals. But I have to show this because there's a certain country that's in the middle of this discussion on rare earth minerals. This is a comedic segue. I'm not monetized over here. So this will be a segue into our discussion regarding rare earth minerals. Fair use, fair use. Some of you have seen this. If you haven't, this is a classic scene from a very popular television show from the 1990s. Fair use, fair use.
I still have armies in the Ukraine.
Let me start that over. Fair use, fair use. This is a Newman and Kramer special. Fair use, fair use.
Are you sure you know where the impound yard is?
Oh, stop stalling. Come on.
I can't think. It's all this noise.
Or is it because I built a stronghold around Greenland? I've driven you out of Western Europe, and I've left you teetering on the brink of complete annihilation.
I'm not beaten yet. I still have armies in the Ukraine.
The Ukraine.
So they're playing. So Newman and Kramer were playing this game, this war game, with world armies, and Kramer was beating Newman to a pulp, and all he had left was the Ukraine. So this gentleman on the subway turns around when he heard the name the Ukraine. Fair use, fair use.
A road apple, Newman. The Ukraine is weak. It's feeble. I think it's time to put the hurt on the Ukraine.
I come from Ukraine. You not say Ukraine weak.
Yeah, well, we're playing a game here, pal.
Ukraine is came to you. How about I take your little bonus?
Okay, I thought that would be a funny introduction to this discussion. So apparently, hold on. So apparently, the Ukraine's, we've been entangled, as I described earlier, with the Ukraine and the Ukraine-related affairs since 2021, since the Biden administration, and then I think maybe we had some entanglements before then, but I think President Putin going in there, that really got us entangled and investing our resources as a country over there. This is not about politics. Okay, I'm not making this about politics. I'm just giving context. So apparently, they have some very, very important rare earth minerals. Okay, and apparently there's a deal that was done. I don't know if it's still on. We're going to talk about that, but apparently there was a deal earlier this week discussing outlining terms for protection for the Ukraine in exchange for our access to their rare earth minerals. Okay. This is a snippet from yesterday's discussion. This has been making the rounds on YouTube, so this is not new. Some of you have seen this. But apparently right now that deal is off. I'm going to show this. Then I'm going to read about the deal, and then that'll be it. I'll probably drop the link so some of you guys can come up very briefly. There is our current president. Fair use. I'm going to play just a few minutes of this, and then we're going to get to the rare earth minerals and why they're significant. Please smash that like button if you haven't. The likes are free. They help with the engagement. If you want to make a donation to the channel, my Cash App and PayPal are here. Okay. Fair use, fair use. I'm just going to play a short snippet of this. And again, to those watching who would say you're endorsing a candidate or you're whatever, we're talking science here, and I'm giving context for what's going on. Fair use.
And now I'm talking with my friends in Poland, and they are worried that you align yourself too much with Putin. What's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough, but you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
Okay. I think for the sake of brevity, you know what? We'll do one more question. We'll do this question here. Fair use, fair use.
I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin. And then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country.
Okay, that's JD Vance's rant. And that's when the whole thing breaks down. But essentially what's happening is that, our current president is a quote unquote businessman. Okay. And he sees things through the context of making deals. Okay. And right now, a deal has been presented to President Zelensky to allow access to the rare earth minerals in exchange for protection. Because I think if the United States is in there setting up operations to mine the rare earth minerals, that would also, in addition to the United States military muscle, with economic interests in there, that would lessen the likelihood of President Putin, Prime Minister Putin, whatever he is, that would lessen the likelihood of more conflict. Okay, so there's an economic win for the United States, and there is a ceasefire, basically. So what are the rare earth minerals? Okay, what do we want access to, or what does the current administration want access to, and why? Why do these things matter? Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of reading for you guys. I hope I don't do this all the time anymore, but this is a short piece, and this kind of fills in the blanks as to what the United States' interest is in these rare earth minerals. Okay. This is from Reuters. This link is in the description box below. Please keep letting me know what you guys think, or if you have questions, or if you have comments on any of this. I appreciate your being here, and I appreciate your participation, all of you. Aquateki says, the Equalizer says this was relating to Robert Kiyosaki. Okay, he says Robert Kiyosaki is correct. Okay. Aquateki says I can't even say it, Aquateki. Neodymium, that's for magnets. And then lithium is for batteries. Yep. All of if you have a Tesla or a hybrid, or you want to get an electric car, that's your battery right there. Those batteries have to come from somewhere. All right. And this was on the 26th, which was Wednesday. And right now, I think this deal is kind of hanging in the balance somewhere. Okay, so there's a map. This is entitled, Ukraine announces minerals deal with the United States, no security guarantee. Okay, So according to this, there is no security guarantee. Okay, there's the Ukraine right there, and that map is showing where deposits of titanium, graphite, lithium, uranium, that's for nuclear power, manganese, iron, and other minerals are. Okay, and it looks like Russia is occupying that easternmost region. Okay, let me read through this. Ukraine said on Wednesday that it had reached a framework agreement with the United States on jointly developing Ukraine's natural resources, including rare earths, critical minerals, oil, and gas. Okay. Kiev sees the deal as vital to keeping Donald Trump engaged after the U.S. president sided with Russia in the war during his first weeks in office. According to the agreement, Kiev would hand some of the revenue from its mineral resources to the United States, but it has received no U.S. security guarantees in return. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is desperate to get Western partners, most importantly, the United States, to commit to such guarantees in order to deter further aggression from Russia in the future. Washington has resisted that pressure so far, although some of Ukraine's European allies have discussed the possibility of deploying foreign soldiers there. Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal described Wednesday's agreement as preliminary, quote unquote. Trump said during a cabinet meeting on Wednesday that Zelensky would travel to Washington on Friday to sign an agreement on rare earth minerals and other topics. Judging from how things went yesterday, I don't know if anything was signed. Okay. Ukraine's critical minerals and other resources. Ukraine has deposits of 22 of the 34 minerals identified by the European Union as critical, according to Economy Ministry data. This includes industrial and construction materials, ferroalloy, precious and non-ferrous metals, and some rare earth metals. Kiev says these resources represent trillions of dollars of untapped mineral wealth, but industry experts say it could take years for investors to make significant profits from a sector reeling from war and chronic underinvestment. Okay, so this is running down the list. I'm not going to read all these paragraphs. Graphite. You know what? Yeah, I am going to read this characterization because this is important to understand why these minerals matter. Okay. Graphite, the largest metal by volume in lithium-ion batteries. There you go. So that industry needs the graphite. Okay. Graphite, the largest metal by volume in lithium-ion batteries. Graphite is also used in applications from nuclear reactors to pencils. Ukraine holds 6% of global reserves, according to the Ukrainian Geological Survey, making it home to some of the largest deposits in Europe. All right, so that's why this matters. Lithium. The State Geological Service said Ukraine has one of Europe's largest confirmed reserves, estimated at 500,000 metric tons of lithium, vital for batteries, ceramics, and glass. Titanium. According to the Ukrainian Geological Survey, Ukraine has the largest titanium reserves in Europe and could be capable of meeting US and EU metallic titanium demand for 25 years. Titanium is also used in medical artificial joints. I won't say how I know that. Uranium. Uranium is the primary reactive material used in nuclear power generators. Can anyone in the chat tell me why we're going to need more nuclear power generators? I know you guys know. Why such a concern over nuclear power generators? Okay. No takers thus far. Okay, the nuclear power generators, word is many of our tech companies, Passport, yep, see, you guys know. Aquatechy says AI and data centers. So to power this AI revolution, many of the tech companies are said to be building their own nuclear reactors. Okay, so they're going to need uranium and lots of it. All right, uranium is the primary reactive material used in nuclear power generators. Russia and China currently supply 55% of the world's uranium enrichment capacity. Russia's invasion of Ukraine deeply affected the uranium enrichment market as Western nations diversified or canceled fuel deliveries from Russia. Okay. So China has quite a bit of it too. Rare earths. According to the Institute of Geology, Ukraine possesses rare earth elements such as lanthanum and cerium used in TVs and lighting, neodymium used in wind turbines and EV batteries, and erbium and yttrium, whose applications range from nuclear power to lasers. Okay. So how much of its resources Ukraine still controls? The war has caused widespread damage across Ukraine, and Russia now controls around a fifth of its territory. The bulk of Ukraine's coal deposits, which powered its steel industry before the war, are concentrated in the east and have been lost. About 40% of Ukraine's metal resources are now under Russian occupation, according to estimates by Ukrainian think tanks We Build Ukraine and the National Institute of Strategic Studies, citing data up to the first half of 2024. They provided no detailed breakdown. Since then, Russian troops have continued to advance steadily in the eastern Donetsk region. In January, Ukraine closed its only coking coal mine outside of the city of Pokrovsk, which Moscow's forces are trying to capture. Russia has occupied at least 2 Ukrainian lithium deposits during the war, one in Donetsk and another in, oh my God, can I say this? Zaporizhzhia. In the Zaporizhzhia region in the southeast, Kiev still controls lithium deposits in the central Khyrovorod region. Okay, guys, so as I'm reading this, I'm wondering if all this conflict has just been over resources and securing control over these resources. I mean, I've watched symposiums about President Putin not wanting NATO pushing on his western border. But maybe this is all about resources and economics, as always. Okay, this is almost over. We're almost done. So the terms of the deal. Okay, the terms of Ukraine's new mineral deal with the United States. The framework of the minerals deal Ukraine is expected to sign with the U.S. on Friday broadly outlines that Ukraine and the United States will jointly develop Ukraine's deposits of rare earths and critical minerals, key components to high-tech devices, as well as its oil and gas. It also stipulates the countries will establish a reconstruction investment fund to collect and reinvest revenues from Ukrainian resources. Representatives from both countries will jointly manage the fund. Ukraine will contribute to the fund 50% of revenues earned from Ukrainian state-owned natural resources. Contributions to the fund will be reinvested in Ukraine to promote the safety, security, and prosperity of Ukraine. The United States will provide a long-term financial commitment to the development of a stable and economically prosperous Ukraine. The fund will aim to invest in Ukrainian projects and attract investment in public and private assets, including natural resources, infrastructure, ports, and state-owned enterprises. The agreement will include concrete steps to establish lasting peace and to strengthen economic security resilience. The United States government will support Ukraine's efforts to obtain security guarantees needed to establish lasting peace. There's no mention of U.S. security guarantees. They keep emphasizing that. The draft seen by Reuters says the agreement will be signed by U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha. Okay. Looking at my toggle there on the left-hand side, we're almost at the end. What's behind the U.S. deal? One of the main drivers of the U.S. pressure campaign to unlock Ukraine into a minerals deal is the Trump administration's focus on China. China, with whom Trump has threatened a trade war, is the world's largest producer of rare earths, which are used to make magnets found in electric vehicles, weaponry, and electronics. See, guys, I'm learning as I go here. I didn't know there were magnets in electrical vehicles. Aquateki, you were right on point about the magnets. You were spot on. Okay, so rare earths, global reserves. Yep, China's got 44 million tons. The United States has 1.9 million tons. Brazil has 21 million tons. Then India, Australia, Russia, Vietnam, and then Canada. Okay, so we're at the bottom in terms of rare earths reserves. While the United States created the rare earths industry in World War II and U.S. military scientists developed the most widely used type of rare earth magnet, China has slowly grown to control the entire sector the past 30 years. The United States is particularly exposed to Chinese imports of rare earths, which made up 70% of its total imports, according to a 2025 report from the U.S. Geological Survey. The United States has only one rare earths mine and has no capability to process rare earth minerals. How about that? So look at that. U.S. import sources of rare earths. We get most of it from China, then Malaysia, then Japan, Estonia, and others. But the lion's share is coming from China. All right, everyone, that's the discussion on rare earths, this whole business with Ukraine and Russia and what's really behind it and what they're jockeying for position for. And I think this is also a beautiful illustration of how science intersects with geopolitics and economics. And if you don't, as a voter, as a pedestrian, if you don't understand these things, you'll be looking this way when they say look this way, when the actual business is over here. Okay. I'm going to drop the link. If anyone wants to come up for a few minutes, I'll hang out for maybe another 15, 20. If not, I'll wrap up and go to the gym. I did mention that I am in the public sector, and this was my first full week back. So my schedule has kind of shifted. I was up early this morning, and I suspect I will get tired by a certain hour tonight. And yeah, it's a lifestyle change when you have to go back and physically work in the office. But it's forcing some controls in terms of lifestyle and being regimented. Okay, the link is there if anyone wants to hit it. If not, I will wrap up. I'm going to read some of your comments here. Aquateki says, lithium for batteries. Sal says, cobalt and lithium are essential for electric vehicles. Aquateki says, Ukraine is a player in titanium mining. All of this was substantiated by the article from Reuters. The Equalizer says, correct, they're amongst the top 10 producers, and the Equalizer is here to give us his expert perspective from the financial sector which is intermingled with geopolitics. Good morning, Sal.
Morning.
How's it going?
Everything's good. You're back to the regular schedule. So you're gonna be telecommuting on Fridays?
Dude, we're straight right now.
Oh, really?
5. Yeah. You know, some of us still have the compressed, so you have the day off every other weekend. But yeah, right now it's like, yeah, we're going hard in the paint every day, going to get in the office.
Oh yeah. It changes everywhere, man. Yeah, we all taking a hit. Unless you're independently rich.
but I will say, from a personal health perspective, it is forcing me to move.
Yes. Yeah.
When you're at home all the time, you're a little more sedentary.
Yep.
And I have some holiday pounds that I'm trying to. So this is, in a way, it's a good time to
yeah.
And my annual physical is coming up in April, so
I
want to give my doctor that reason to get on me. So. All right.
You got 4 weeks.
4 weeks. Yep.
Yeah,
so
it was a good.
Let's say you want any of this.
It's a good topic, man. I mean, you always got great contact, man.
Thank you.
You just don't have enough, which I'm not surprised. You don't have enough, in my opinion, subscribers or eyes, but it's expected. It's expected because it matters, and so. But yeah, as Aquateki stated, yeah, everything is energy. People, for whatever reason, fail to realize that, or forget about it, or just don't care, and then complain about why prices change or jump. And as you stated, with the HOA, I'm sure the fees just from one line item, of course, and that's just one. And people don't understand why certain things occur. They don't understand why geopolitics is important. It's not about you knowing every little thing. Obviously, no one really has time for that. But when you understand certain things, or as I typically say, I always just look at the laws and the taxes, because that just tells me everything. That tells me, because all it does is it incentivizes people. That's what people don't realize. That's what it does. So that's why I look at. I look at the rules. It sets the stage for our social environment. So initially, I could care less about anybody's opinion because I'm gonna look at the statutes, who are the players, who's doing what, and what are the after effects. That's it. Okay, we can talk about opinions way down the line, But at the end of the day, it typically doesn't matter if you don't understand the statutes and the taxes and why people are doing certain things, or why government are doing certain things. Look at the land, what's on the land, and what's under the land. That's what it tells you. I mean, to me, it's very simple. So I don't waste my time. I don't waste my time with arguing with people, man, because I'm a practical person. It's just obvious. Obviously, as you just recently stated, with what's going on with China, of course, we understand. President Trump. He's not your. Now I can consider him a politician now, but he's not your typical politician. He's literally going to tell you what he's going to do. So it just boggles my mind when people are upset or surprised when he does something. He already said it. I'm not saying, I'm not endorsing whether you should like him or not. He said what he was going to do, and now he's doing it. Why are you surprised? And in many cases, right now with Doge, why because people are taking, they treat politics like it's a freaking sports team. They don't realize, especially what this previous administration has done, accelerating, the downfall of the American empire and the life that you are used to, the standard of living that you were used to. People don't understand what it takes for you to maintain that kind of lifestyle, and what the government does internationally, and what part you play in it. So now this administration is coming in and cutting costs. And I said this 2-3 years ago at this point. I said we're going to have to cut costs. I said, if you really want to solve the problem quick, you're going to have to cut it in half. That's exactly what I said across the board. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen because it's going to be a real show, but that's what's required. And increase what? Taxes. That's it. Those are your only options. In my opinion, it's not political. In my opinion, it's basic math. But people want to waste their time arguing over, in my opinion, nonsense. You don't understand the Social Security. I mean, look at the expenses. This stuff is public. It's public. It's published. I don't want to say it's public knowledge. it's publicly published. Right? Your top now, which wasn't there prior to this previous administration, your number one expense now is actually interest payments. I mean, like you got like that's why it just boggles my mind. These Democrats and leftists, they're either disingenuous or they're, this is purely my opinion, stupid. Because if you can't look at facts and see what's going on, and you're concerned about stuff that's so at the bottom of the list, then you're gonna get ran over. I didn't say you deserve it, but you're gonna get ran over, and that's what's happening to people. It's unfortunate that expenses have to be cut, and unfortunately, it's being done in the way that it's being done. But people aren't really notice that they aren't really saying that. They're more concerned about how these politicians were robbing taxpayers. Notice they're not talking about that. They're more concerned about sensationalizing Trump and Vance than y'all been getting robbed. They've been lying to you blatantly, especially this last administration. But no, that's all right. Because of my feelings and my team. It's crazy, in my opinion. It's crazy. So, like I said before, years ago, this is why I said it's over. Here it is. All the stuff I was saying on BGS Lives, that's why, I don't know if people notice, that's why y'all don't see me on live. The only lives y'all see me on has been on Dr. Dunbar's. I wonder why. There's nothing else to say. There's nothing else to say. And I'm just not even going to concern myself with pedestrians anymore or low IQ people. I'm just not doing it because we don't have, like I said back then, we don't have time. Like, if you're untalented, it's over. Like, it's super over for you. Like, it's impossible for you. If you are talented, don't get ran over. And you have to be nimble, and you have to be as practical as possible, and look at the playing field. Focus on your strengths and just maneuver yourself, man, because right now there are a lot of moving parts. And in my opinion, you really don't got time for your feelings and your opinions. It's just what's going on. How can I maneuver myself? How can I get ran over? How can I protect my family and my close friends? Like, that's what time is right now. but people want to come online and argue over nonsense. It's crazy. But it was a great topic. Yeah, I mean, this is what it's going to be right now. I mean, we're in the I guess this is the age of the AI race. This is just for our lifetime. We didn't go through the last real race we had was obviously going out of space. So I guess this is our lifetime race, globally. So that's what's going on. Again, people who don't understand, or people who won't, educate themselves on degenerate AI and all that stuff. Again, they're gonna get left behind, man. I see the technology I look at it kind of like as a more advanced calculator.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense that it's useless if you don't understand the basic subject at what you're trying to calculate. Period.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't matter. Like, you could ask the thing any question, but you don't know how accurate it is. One, because if you don't understand if you don't understand the questions you're asking, or the subject matter, it could spit anything at you. You don't know how accurate that thing is. Just like a calculator. I could put anything in a calculator. I don't know if I don't know if I don't know what I'm doing. How do I know that thing is accurate or not? Or how do I know I'm even using the right equation for this problem? That's how I see AI.
Yeah. It's funny. Well, Akuteki says people have gotten used to being lied to by politicians. It's a complete shock when they tell the truth. And just thinking about what you were just saying, yeah, man, so many people right now are in the last week were engulfed with Joanne Reed being fired,
Yes.
boycotting Target because of shedding diversity initiatives, and just so many people they're just looking over here when all the real important stuff is happening over here.
Yeah, we're going to boycott a global corporation. We are a small subset of their profits. Good luck with that. I mean, but if you say that out loud, you're negative, Dr. Dunbar. You're not about the cause. No, you're practical. That's what you are.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Okay. Well, Sal, do you have anything else?
No, again, as usual, love the content. Keep it coming.
All right. Yeah, I think over here I'm just gonna have to be consistent. YouTube let me know that I crossed 5,000 watch hours here, which I think is a milestone. I mean, that's obviously small compared to some other channels, but slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah, and again, it's high quality. So, I mean, I can only imagine how hard it is. Again, most of the stuff that's getting all the obviously the views and the money is going to be, the stuff that's just lighting the reptilian part of the brain. So
yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. It's dopamine. Like I get it. Like I totally get it. But I mean, definitely that's a milestone. Congratulations. You're definitely doing the work, man. You're doing a tough job, in my opinion. I don't have the patience. I couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't. I'm gonna be straight direct with you. I couldn't do it, man. I can't.
Okay.
So I commend you.
Well, I appreciate you coming up and giving your expertise and your perspective.
Definitely. Thank you.
All right, let me go ahead and wind this down. All right, thank you, Sal, and thank you to everyone who watched. I think I'm going to wrap this up. There was another thought somewhere in here, and I think it's gone. But anyway, yeah, guys, this is science news. This is science current events. This is what's going on. Akuteki, thank you so much for the generous Cash App donation. Let me play one of your drops. Actually, for that, I might play two.
No sign of Decepticons here, Brian.
Now, let's do another one, everybody.
Roger me, will call me, anything. Hello, Earth.
So for those who don't know, those are drops from the Transformers movie, the 1986 Transformers movie. Those some of us Gen Xers here leading the discussion and in the chat, we grew up with the Transformers cartoon in the early 1980s, and they killed off many of our beloved characters in that movie. But that particular character, Jazz, was voiced by Scatman Crothers, and Akuteki uses Jazz as his avatar, and I put those drops together for him, for his because he keeps coming back and he's generous with his donations, and I appreciate the support. So I think so. I'll be on the move next Saturday, so I might do something on Wednesday night. I know that's not my usual window, but I think I had to go back and see my gastro specialist this week to get another diagnostic look at my GI tract. So I think it'll be good to kind of remind everyone about the importance of getting your colonoscopy when you reach that certain age, and why I had to go back to get scoped to a lesser degree a second time. So I may do something on Wednesday night, but I have to, I'll be coming back from the office and I have to get ready to go somewhere early Thursday morning. So I'm going to eyeball it. Aquateki says, not just robbed in the present, but robbed in the future as well. Passport OG says, good talk. Thank you. That's from one chemist to another. All right, everyone. I'm going to wrap this up. This is Big Discussions 76, science and technology. And hey, everybody, keep your eyes on how science impacts everything. This is a marrying of science with geopolitics and economics, and there are always science stories around us that and if you don't know the science, it's going to impact the decisions you make. It's going to impact your quality of life. It's going to impact if you don't know what you're voting on, or if you're voting on something over here while the real business is over here, you're going to end up paying more for natural gas and water, and you might find that your life is harder the next year than it was the previous year, just because you didn't know what the key issues were and what you should have been voting on. Okay. I know that might trigger a lot of people, but it is what it is. A quick advertisement before I go. Once again, my book, in Passport OG, in one chapter of this book, I do capture my first chemistry class in one of the chapters in this book in my sophomore year. That's why I mentioned that teacher at the beginning who passed away, Mr. Kosek. Rest in power, Mr. Kosek. But this is my book project, The Engineers of Western New York Basketball Story, Part 1, Innocent Basketball Dreams. It's available on Amazon in the ebook, hardcover, and paperback editions. I am selling signed copies from my own operation here in my condo unit. If you want a signed copy of the hardcover, I'm selling them for $25. That's a discounted price. For my YouTube subs or whoever is viewing this, just use one of those payment methods right there in the ticker. But make sure you send me your mailing address. I'm trying to follow the ticker. But make sure you send me your mailing address as well. The paperback, I'm selling that for $22. But again, use one of these methods and send your mailing address to me. You can send that to Brent C. put it in his PayPal donation and purchase price, this purchase fee last month. But if you need to, and also if you want to contact me for whatever reason offline, you can reach me here at any of these. Use the email address in that second line, and you can follow me on X, and you can follow me on Instagram. And I'm over on Threads too, but that's just another Instagram. It's really just another Instagram. All right, everyone, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you to those who watched. Thank you once again, Aquateki, thank you for the donation. He says, keep the science content coming. Will do. So as long as you guys are here, I will be as well. All right, everyone. And I realized, regardless of what happens with my public sector duties, as long as there's an internet signal and I have my microphone and my camera and my PC, I'll always, and my health, I'll always be able to make content. So I don't think this is ever going to go away until I decide to just stop doing it. All right, everyone, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Keep your eyes on the news. Keep your eyes on the science. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.